A new player emerging today in the 2016 race for the White House, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. He's an independent who plans to wrestle Hillary Clinton for the Democratic ticket. Sanders is the longest-serving independent in congressional history. Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Kleffler in New York. And in an interview with ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Caro, Senator Sanders talks about everything from Clinton cash, fighting for the middle class, pot smoking, even his hairstyle.
Senator Sanders, you're going to run for president?
That's true, I am.
Why?
Jonathan, for the last 40 years in this country, the great middle class of America has been disappearing. People are working longer hours for low wages. We have 45 million people living in poverty. And at the same time, what we have seen is the wealthiest people in this country not just do well, but do unbelievably well. You have 99% of all new income generated today is going to the top 1%. The top 1/10 of 1% owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. So what you have in the economy right now is a system that is totally rigged on behalf of the large corporations and the wealthy, and I intend to stand up and fight for working families all over this country.
I've got to say, you don't look like the typical presidential candidate.
Is that my hair?
I mean, there's
their
hair. You're from Vermont. Doesn't give us a lot of presidents. It's been a while. You call yourself a socialist. This does not seem like a guy that's what we usually think of when we think presidential candidate.
Well, I think maybe people might want to rethink that. My record is one of standing up for working families, of addressing a whole lot of issues that most politicians don't address. The issue of trade, for example, is enormously important. We have lost since 2001 60,000 factories, and a lot of that has to do with the disastrous trade agreement that allows corporations to send our jobs to China and other low-wage countries. I'm helping to lead the effort against the current trade agreement. I have stood up and said no to the Republicans. You're not going to cut Social Security. As a matter of fact, when we have seniors living on $13,000 or $14,000, we're going to expand Social Security. No, we're not going to give more tax breaks to billionaires. In fact, maybe it's about time that the richest people in this country and the largest corporations started paying their fair share of taxes. No, it is not appropriate that the Koch brothers and other billionaires buy the American democracy and our political system. We are going to pass a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United and move to public funding of elections. Does that make me sound like a presidential candidate?
Well, we've just had a Democrat for 7 years almost. All this has happened under the watch of a Democratic president?
No, that's really not fair. When President Obama...
It hasn't been reversed by a Democratic president.
What was reversed is when George W. Bush left office, this economy was on the verge of a collapse. We were losing 800,000 jobs a month. So people complain that we're only gaining a couple of 100,000 jobs a month. Not enough, it's true. But nobody, I think, seriously doubts that we're not a lot better off today than we were 6.5 years ago when Bush left office. But are we anywhere near where we should be? And the answer is no. So yes, we're better than we were 6 years ago, but there is a 40-year trend of a disappearing middle class. What do we need to do? We need to raise the minimum wage to a living wage so that people who work 40 hours a week can live with dignity. We need to create millions of jobs because real unemployment is 11%. We need pay equity for women workers. We need to change our trade policies. There is an enormous amount that has to be done if we're going to save the American middle class.
Okay, some straight talk on political reality. Hillary Clinton, is she really beatable in a Democratic primary?
I think so. I really do. I would not hesitate in telling you that I go into this as an underdog, but we're getting support from all over this country. We're not going to be raising $1 billion or $2 billion. I don't have wealthy sponsors, so to speak, but we will raise a lot of money online. My average contribution for the Senate was $45, and I think we'll have a whole lot of people saying, the time is now, enough is enough. The billionaires can't have it all. They can't control the economy, and they cannot control the United States government.
What do you make when you see all the stories about the millions of dollars that flowed into the Clinton Foundation and the speaking fees and all of that?
Well, it tells me what is a very serious problem, but it's not just about Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton. It is about a political system today that is dominated by big money. It's about the Koch brothers being prepared to spend $900 million in the coming elections. Look, let me be very frank. No one else is going to say that to you. Is that if we don't get our act together and overturn Citizens United and move to public funding of elections, this country is moving into an oligarchic form of society where not only our economy, but our political life is going to be controlled by the billionaire class. So do I have concerns about the Clinton Foundation and that money? I do. But I'm concerned about Sheldon Adelson and his billions. I'm concerned about the Koch brothers and their billions. We are looking at a system where our democracy is being owned by a handful of billionaires. That is wrong.
And you think the Clintons are part of that system?
I think anybody now who is running for office, with few exceptions, and I think I'm one of the exceptions, I am not going to start a super PAC. I'm not going to go around the country talking to millionaires. Now, I'm saving my time because they wouldn't give me any money anyhow, and that's fine. But we will be dependent on small contributions. But this issue of money in politics is huge, and I hope everybody understands that if we don't deal with the Citizens United decision and billionaires able to spend as much money as they want, the foundation, if we don't deal with that, the foundations of American democracy will disappear.
You've been an independent your whole time. I looked it up. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you are the longest serving independent in the history of Congress.
Search.
You really want
to my website. We're going to save you some time. That's true.
You really, now you're going to be a Democrat.
No, I am an independent. I've always been.
But
an
you're running for
independent.
the Democratic
But I am
nomination.
running. That's right. I am been also since I've been in Congress. I have been part of the Democratic caucus ever since my first day in the United States Congress. Worked with Democrats. Today I am the ranking member, appointed by the Democratic leadership on the Budget Committee. So I think the best path forward to win this thing, the best path forward to rally millions of Americans around an agenda that speaks to the needs of working families, is doing it within the Democratic primary process.
What do your colleagues think of you running for president?
Well, I guess the best answer is you have to
ask them. Well, a lot of them have already endorsed Hillary Clinton.
They have.
I mean, they endorsed her before she said she was going to run.
That's right. So I think it is fair to say, I think we'll get some support here on Capitol Hill, but I think it is fair to say that most of the Democratic senators and members of the House will support Secretary Clinton.
A lot of people say you're not running to win, you're running to make a point. You want to, I mean, you believe fervently in these issues and you want to.
Let me tell you what I believe.
Okay.
I believe that to a large degree, the inside the Beltway media and the inside the Beltway world, politicians, is way, way, way out of touch with where the American people are at. I have been all over this country, all over my own state of Vermont. People are a lot angrier about the status quo. They're angry about corporate greed. They're angry that the two-party system, that Democrats and Republicans are increasingly controlled by big money. They're angry at the media, which increasingly does not talk about the real issues impacting the lives of working families. So there is a lot of discontent out there with the establishment, the economic establishment, political, media establishment. And I intend to talk to those issues. And I think we're going to have a surprise for you.
The surprise will be
that we're going to win this thing.
You really think you're going to win?
I think we have
You're
a
not
shot
just
at
telling me that. You think you can win the Democratic nomination. You think you can beat
I am
Hillary Clinton.
saying right now, look, do I go into this thing as the underdog? Absolutely, no question about it. We're doing okay in the polls, but we're way behind. We're going to be heavily outspent. But I think the American people have had enough of establishment politics. I think they want real change. I think they want to see a movement which stands up to the billionaire class, and I intend to be part of that effort.
What does President Bernie Sanders do on his first day?
Well, on our first day, we developed legislation which calls for rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure and creating 13 million new jobs. Maybe on the next day, we'll develop our plan to reverse climate change. And on the third day, we'll be offering a constitutional amendment to overturn this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision. That'll be enough for the first 3 days, then we'll really get to work.
Did you see President Obama's joke about you at the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
I did.
What did you make of that?
I thought he was incredibly funny throughout his entire presentation. It blew me away. That was some of the best TV that I have seen in a long time. I was in stitches.
But his line about you, the idea of electing a Democratic Socialist pot smoker. I don't know.
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm not a pot smoker. I have, admittedly, some 30, 40 years ago. But look, let's talk about that for a moment, because I know people get hung up on the word socialism. But I know you're smart enough to know that what we're talking about are the tremendous achievements brought about in countries like Denmark and Norway and Sweden. Healthcare is a right. Everybody there has healthcare. Should we apologize for that, or is that a pretty good thing? You know what it should cost to go to college in Denmark? Oh, it happens to be free. Do you know how much child care costs in that country? Virtually nothing. Do you know what the gap between the rich and the poor in that country is? Much less than it is in the United States. So I think there are things that we can learn from social democratic countries around the world where, in fact, government does work for ordinary people to a much greater degree than it does in our country, where our politics is dominated by billionaires.
Okay, so a couple of things. Is Hillary Clinton going to have to debate you? Some people say, she's so far ahead, she doesn't need a debate. So will there be debates for this Democratic primary?
I will do my best to make that happen. I suspect that Secretary Clinton is up for it. Look, let me tell you something. I've known Hillary Clinton, I think, for 20, 25 years. I like her. I respect her. And the campaign that I will be running is not anything to do with personal attacks and all that stuff. I'll be running an issue-oriented campaign. I think that is Secretary Clinton's desire, and let's debate the major issues facing the American people.
Okay, I want to move to a lighter topic, if you don't mind. We've got something to play for you. See, we multitask here.
Okay, just hit play.
Okay, so I want you to listen to this. It's just audio. Does this sound familiar?
I'm getting in the groove here. Does sound very familiar. 25 years later. And this thing proves absolutely and positively that I have no career as a singer. Can we agree on that?
That was fun. I had not heard that. That was pretty good. So do you still perform, and can we get you to sing a couple bars?
Absolutely.
Oh, come on.
Look, I'm worried about your viewing.
You're a recording artist.
Viewing audience all over the country, mass click-offs. No, you don't want me singing. That you know what.
All right. Well, Senator Sanders, we'll see you out on the campaign trail. Where do you go first?
We'll be in New Hampshire this Saturday. Today was not a good day for us. So.
Well, today's a great day for you, and I look forward to having the bumper stick.
All right. Thank you.
Sophie did a great job.
Thank you. Good.
Yeah. No, those have got to be people that are excited about you.
Well, let me surprise you. I know that you don't believe it. There's a world outside of Capitol Hill. Check it out sometime.
Yeah, I know. I've been out there.
Have you really?
I've been out
you
there.
You got out in the real world?
Yeah.
You let them out?
With as Hillary says, everyday people.
Everyday people.
As opposed to, these part-time people.
Those people.
So longest serving independent ever
In the history of the United States.
in the history of the Congress.
All right. We've showed the American people that I can walk.
You can walk. I
All
think
right.
we've done it. Thank you very
good.
much. Hey, I really
Okay.
appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks to Jonathan Carl. More on that story tonight on World News Tonight with David Muir. And of course, you can keep up with this story and the campaign anytime downloading the ABC News app, starring the story for exclusive updates on the go. I'm Dan Kleffler in New York.